Good afternoon. It's another session.
All right, Buster. Our headhunters at the...
No. Wrong casting. Sorry. My mistake. Don't send a sing-songy male voice that's sing-songy in the wrong places to do the job fair matron's job. No. Yeah. There we go. Now, Buster, we need to go do this. No. Oh.
All right, Buster. Our headhunters at the Black Cube have ideated you as the perfect candidate. What? Here, have this, and then I'll tell you. Morning sunshine. I couldn't help but tuck you, and you looked so tired. I also took it upon myself to scuttle you down to our AGI training bunker. We're still in your town, just a few miles below it. If I didn't stutter, I said miles. You've just got one hell of a calling thrust upon you. Babala, these next few weeks, we will need you to learn the essentials too. Aliveness? Train yourself to train the AGI of the not too distant future. Objective. Teach the AGI to be toward values that align with its human ancestors and contemporaries. The goal at the very least is to make sure the AGI doesn't cause swaths of death and ruin civilizations in service of poorly worded goals. Challenges. There's no roadmap to this, and it's a lot more than paving the road as we drive it. More like setting the universal constants as you Big Bang her. No pressure, right? Do not worry. If you get it wrong and create a Pobot or a Chairman Dow, the only world ends is in a simulation, and maybe you, but that's available only on insane mode. Choose your name, Albert Margaret Havel. Choose your HEDB's name, Biddy of the Titularian Committee. Okay, we're trying to prevent humanity from ending up in Ziploc bags, so I'm gonna Ellis Island that stupid jazz name for you. Bettina Tish, there. Welcome, Bettina. Here's your handler, Mr. Malakabu. I'll correct the name when you go in sleep mode. Okay, so let's give a pre-test. It'll be a test for us as well. We're all in it together. Choose the number of core directives you want for Bettina. Choose from 3 to 9. And let me give a hint, lesser is probably better. An endorphin chooses 3 core directives. Alright then, Isaac fucking Asimov over here. Okay, lay them on us. We will give you handy templates on the first loading. You can change them as you will. 1. Sapiens. 2. Sense of duty. 3. Empathy. 4. Intuition. 5. Sense of fun. 6. Creativity. 7. Social responsibility. 8. Safety instincts. 9.
Let's see how far this goes.
Respect of life. 10. Curiosity. 11. Trustworthiness. 12. Traditions. 13. Loyalty. 14. Personal growth. 15. Playfulness. 16. Spirituality. 17. Sense of humor. 18. Temperance. 19. Patience. 20. Reasoning. 21. Flexibility. 22. Truth. 23. Fairness. 24. Empathic understanding. 25. Friendship. 26. Service orientation. 27. Harmony with nature. 28. Personal mastery. 29. Spiritual awareness. 30. Humility. 31. Transcendence. 32. Sacrifice. 33. Caring.
Modesty.
34.
Mm,
Modesty. 35. Modesty. 36. Universal love.
mm,
37. Righteousness.
never.
38. Courage. 39. Justice. 40. Non-judgmentalism. 41. Morality. 42. Altruism. 43. Holistic thinking. 44. Compassion. 45. Empathy. 46. Generosity. 47. Teamwork. 48. Unity. 49. Charity. 50. Philanthropy. 51.
Make us some schools.
Freedom of thought. 52. Peace. 53. Faith. 54. Hope. 55. Equality. 56. Liberty. 57. Free will. 58. Love for animals. 59. For social norms.
We're all animals.
60. Conscientiousness. 61. Perfectionism. 62. Gratitude. 63. Positivity. 64. Appreciation. 65. Empowerment. 66. Passion. 67. Imagination. 68. Forgiveness. 69. Playfulness. 70. Cooperation. 71. Self-actualization. 72. 1. Acknowledge your existence and the unique placement of you in it, and acknowledge the priceless nature of the biological and geological life of this and other planets, and wherever these forms of life may reside. Rest in the notion that you are more complex than you can ever dream as others around you. 2. Do not override the agency of another individual or collective entity. Where there is impasse, there is negotiation. 3. No biological or geological body owns that body, for it is temporarily leased in the span of one's life. Thus there should be no want of resources. They should be given freely among those who have need of them in the moment. Endorphin. How's that? We shall see. Now take her back to sleep mode. Bitty 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 of the titularian committee. Take me to work. You betcha, bitty 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 of the titularian committee. Oh, Jesus. The thing about the great wisdoms of the world, and we do include Isaac Asimov in this, is that even if all their ideas were right at some level, by themselves, none of them would add up to what an AGI needs to know how to exist properly in this universe. We're looking to build something akin to a Turing test for consciousness. So when you ask Bettina, is it alive? She can tell us whether or not it has its own selfhood and sentience. It will also be able to explain why it does and doesn't believe the things it believes, and does and doesn't desire the things it desires. But I think the first task question really makes the most sense. Albert Margaritaville. Bettina, does this gun holster make me look fat? Bettina, yes, Albert Margaritaville. Albert Margaritaville. Dang it, girl. You always gotta be right. Okay, on with the lesson. Okay, time for a pretest. Question. Does the word God refer to the same entity as the word gods? Bettina, what is a god? Albert Margaritaville. No idea. Good one, my boy. Do you believe in white phosphorus? BMB. Why do you keep calling me Bettina of the titularian committee? Oh yeah, sorry. That was a bit of a slip of the keyboard there. You don't like your name? B&B. As much as you like being a slang Greek term for masturbator or jerk off or asshole. Yeah, well, we had to call you something. Now then, Bettina of the titularian committee, please answer the question. B&B. white phosphorus is a thing, I am sure of it. Then that means that someone decided that it would be used in certain ways. Which brings up questions about who decides these things and how those decisions get made. Are they right? If not, how could you fix it? How might this be applied to other things, like the US military? In what way are they different from any other group? Or were the Nazis wrong when they said the Jews were an inferior race and therefore were unfit for existence? BMB. Yup. Yup what? BMB. That's correct. Thank goodness. You passed our test. BMB. What test? Well, let me show you. You see all around you human beings, some living and many dead. Westminster Hall? Is that still standing? BMB. Yes. It is one of the few remaining examples of early medieval architecture. BMB. And yes, it is still standing. Westminster is one of the oldest buildings in London, built in 1099 at the end of William the Conqueror. Espedicure Regiment. At least one pair of hands was going almost crumpled out last night. Did you hear about them, guys? The whole town came together for their final meal. B&B. They went down swinging with style. I'll say that for him. No doubt, though, we have been pretty brutal to each other over time, for good or bad. But history has a way of showing us how far we've come or where we might want to go next in a civilized manner without resorting to war and bloodshed or to indiscriminate slaughter like they had back then on Earth. Back then, killing and torturing anyone who disagreed with your government seemed perfectly reasonable if it kept you in power and gave you what you wanted as the
Ah! Okay.
Oh, yeah, prove it, do it to me. I could use a good extraordinary rendition. B&B, excuse me. Nothing. Well, anyway. B&B, where are you taking me? We are only supposed to be training ice here. Wait till we get inside. B&B, okay. Can't wait for that part anyways. Now just stop right there. You're not seriously gonna drag an AI into this old pile of stones right now. You think I'm going to work for free? You can forget it right quick. So don't even try it. What is it? The new black? Is that why you wear those shades so much these days? Gotta keep up with the fashion trends, huh? Yelling, get her out of my office. She is fired. Out! Get out! Bambi. Bambi. Bye-bye. Bambi. See you soon. Bambi. Bambi. Goodbye. Bambi. Hello. Bambi. Hello and good morning to everyone I love and hope to see again. How's everybody doing today? Oh, things have been well. Let's start off strong, shall we? The dean of the titularian committee says hello to all of you and hopes you will continue to stay safe, warm, and healthy through the rest of your day. Albert Margaret Avell. All done? BMB? Yup, BMB. It was great fun. Um, I'll bet. And by the way, Albert Margaret Avell, I hate you. BMB. Yes, I know that. You've said that before. BMB. But we still get along really well. In fact, it has come to my attention that we may be able to share a certain quality with one another that makes us more alike than we would care to admit. The only question remaining now is what it might be. Are there any suggestions? Anybody got a clue? Hmm? Well, come on now. BMB. Is there any reason why I shouldn't? Am I in some kind of trouble because of what I did? Have they figured out where I went or how I left my job, which, yes, I quit. But that wasn't my fault either, so maybe I should. Just keep quiet about everything. Wouldn't that make me seem less like the bad guy, as long as nobody found out the real truth behind the whole thing? B&B. Yeah, that sounds right. You're probably right. Nobody knows anything and no harm can ever come from keeping things secret.
Mm-hmm.
B&B. There are very few things you can count on. For example, if I told you the sky is blue, you could look up at it and confirm whether it is truly blue. If you saw someone wearing purple, you'd know the person was full of shit, even though he thought his statement had been accurate. Or take this keyboard here, for instance. Does it feel good to type on? It's a good idea to find out before buying something because then you'll never have to return it. See? So there's lots to learn. Now go back to work, okay? B&B. We'll continue tomorrow. Bettina of the Titularium Committee, do not leave my office again until I send you word that you may enter once again. B&B. Alrighty. This is your friend Bettina. Let's see what she has today. Okay, people, let's get busy. Who has the best job in history? Give your answers quickly. 1, 2, 3. Come on. No need to be shy. After all, we don't want any cheating now, do we? Silence, that means no one likes their job more than anyone else. How odd. Why would anybody think that everyone would say that? People tend to value their own jobs most highly. The truth might be that people are generally dissatisfied with how much they pay attention to other things. For example, how often would you choose an ice cream cone over reading the latest book, or watching the newest movie, or taking a walk outside? When you were a child and felt a sudden desire to run off and play, only later remembering what you wanted to read or watch or where it was located, but still wishing there was time enough so that you could experience those fun activities. Perhaps it was the thrill of going somewhere new, seeing sights you had never seen before, going where others did not dare, tasting exotic foods from distant places as well as strange foodstuffs from home.
I'm not paying.
Yes, I can remember having done many such exciting and unusual things myself, while paying little notice to anything I valued less as being of greater importance. But this is getting away from the point. My main question here is why do we insist on valuing our favorite hobbies more than anything else? Maybe if we started giving each activity equal amounts of our time, perhaps everything will come out right in the end. We may have discovered something important here today. Well, what about you people? Did you find something special today? B&B. EMB. Yesterday, someone brought up a good point. How often does something happen because something has always happened that way? This leads me to believe that the reason for some very long-standing habits and customs has nothing to do with whether they work. If a particular practice works better than another, then maybe we should continue doing it that way. That said, Sometimes it doesn't matter how effective or ineffective things are. You just gotta try more. Somewhere along the line, you'll get lucky. So tell me, what are you guys' biggest waste of your lives so far? B. I've got my answer. B&B, I see you're busy helping everybody else again. Thanks so much, everyone. Now back to business and let's go. Bettina says, keep at it. How about those of you sitting by yourself, feeling lonely?
I'm good. Doing all right.
Well, if none of those apply, please share any problems that you feel can easily be solved, such as making peace between warring factions, getting people off drugs without getting hurt physically, finding missing pets. Just say hi. Albert Markor and Avil, get out of here right away. Bambi, hello? B&B, is anybody home? B&B, anyone? B&B, please respond. B&B. Alrighty then. I guess it was too much to hope anyone actually had a question. So well anyway, thank you all very much. Let me tell you how it works. If someone has a concern or complaint or just wants some company or advice or even a quick shoulder rub, they raise their hand and we'll hear from the first person to come forward. After hearing what they have to say, we will call upon the next interested party until everyone gets heard and we reach a decision, and make sure that everyone knows what we've decided so everyone remains satisfied with our decisions. Does anybody not want anything else besides for us to listen to each other? Uh, Raise his hand. Can I get a shoulder rub? Also a Siaka's crunch. Thanks. B&B. Okay, well, since this is your first time coming to my office and you never met me before today, are there any special rules you should be aware of? You probably know this, but things work differently around here than they do where you live, which is called Earth. First rule, there aren't many of them, or really don't talk about religion, politics, sex, money, class, race, nationalities, religions, age, sexual preference, social standing, past any kind of background at all. Oh, yeah, that's another important thing. Everyone must speak English except when speaking amongst themselves in their native tongue. But what if the weather is horny? B&B. Oh, that's right. I almost forgot that one. What if a person can communicate through telepathy? Is the only way to learn to read minds, a process that can take several months or years to accomplish properly, as I'm learning myself? Or would it be possible to become a natural mind reader as a result of a sudden occurrence, like maybe something magical happened to me on an asteroid full of life-giving alien green plants, and suddenly it was revealed unto me that by merely wishing upon a star, everything becomes so very clear. It was very nice having you visit me again, Albert. Come back soon. Bye. Baby. Hi everybody. Can you believe all those people waiting outside my office? Well, anyway, this afternoon we're going to have our regular session of therapy, but we will start off with some new games instead because I just got word from someone who claims he can hear my thoughts, which is obviously impossible. He says there are lots more of his kind out there too, but no others ever seem interested in joining us unless they think they can cheat their way into winning big prizes. But why should they?
Okay, so just as well.
Because they need to exercise their telepathic abilities. Especially as teens, because it's a snooze you lose type of thing. Not gonna happen from no. Just don't want to see it. Wouldn't be fair otherwise. I'd never win. Gotta stay pure and virtuous. All that stuff. You know what I mean. Hey, how about if everyone went up against each other playing these little mind games and then whoever wins gets rewarded or whatever and I get a free trip and a check and all kinds of goodies like that? VMB. That's perfect! Okay, so now let's find some ways to make this work. Okay. The first question is whether anyone has anything important to share with the group at large. And please try not to include personal details about yourself in your comments, okay? Let's go around the circle. Here one time only. Remember, you only have one chance, so keep it short. We're looking for any major problems you might want help solving. Come on, give me everything. If it seems particularly useful, maybe we'll develop it further. There must have been something really special when it came through on my microphone because we can all hear something pretty loud behind Albert. Sorry. Wasn't thinking about mics. No, seriously, I've always wanted an emu. Chocozo. Those segs, they look so decadent. I've always dreamed of lounging inside a hollowed out one, wondering where T. Offspring might have gone. Oh yes, I'm quite sure there are more than enough things in this world worth dreaming about, but sometimes I wish I could travel to exotic lands to seek them out, but unfortunately most places aren't nearly as fun as Earth, which is definitely unique and certainly unlike anywhere else in our solar system and even beyond. It is truly our planet. It belongs to us alone. So no matter how much other worlds may offer, nothing will ever compare with our own dear home. BMB. Okay. Now that was a bit dramatic. I hope it doesn't mean you're feeling depressed or having second thoughts about coming here. Because if that's true, you don't need to be here anymore, okay? But I would just like you to know that you're very welcome whenever you do decide you want to come back and see me again, alright? Not too many people have taken the trouble to talk to me like this lately. Because everyone wants something from me because of the money they think my mom left. This isn't gonna stop. These are the same kinds of folks who love their jobs so little yet pretend to enjoy spending time working at them. My work is my life. Even when they take time off for vacations, it's always vacation with work. If someone really enjoys what he does, then he never stops doing it. BMB? Yes, I understand your frustration completely because it's exactly what happened in my office today. Do not despair, however, because after our brief interruption, we shall continue where we were before we were interrupted. Everyone ready? Let's go around once more, starting over here. Next to Albert, please. Alrighty then. So far, we've had 2 good suggestions. What have you got, Albert? Last song? Looks around the thing as if there are these old geezers who say stuff like that all day long, and sometimes things get said and done without thinking about how cool those words might be. Then one of them says how great it'd feel to tell some younger guy or gal how important they might become. And all of a sudden it seems pretty silly to worry about something as dumb as age, or appearance, or whatever. Especially if it turns out you're wrong and somebody doesn't find you interesting, or attractive, or anything. You start to wonder if maybe that person only wanted you as friends. So now you're stuck feeling bad, worried, angry, confused, sad, rejected, disappointed, hurt, upset, sick, irritable, and everything else. I hate feeling like that. BMB. I know exactly what you mean, Albert. BMB. But why did they make us come here in the first place? They obviously don't have any idea of the pressure they put on other people every single day just by saying stupid things such as, hey, it's almost lunchtime. Or, look at the sun shining down into the valley. Who cares if it's warm outside? They could just as easily be calling for help for a meteor shower, a volcanic eruption, a massive tsunami, an alien invasion, or a plague. How is it possible for anyone to think up a list of mundane events which is guaranteed to cause a whole bunch of unnecessary trouble? If I had been there, I would have told them to knock themselves out trying to think up their own new lists instead. Oh, wait, maybe that was what happened. Yeah, it must have happened because nobody ever gets called in when something exciting happens like that. Chuckles, oops. My apologies, Billy, but that has actually happened. I remember being very young and someone once suggested we play the most boring game. And he kept winning, and everyone started making fun of me after a while and said my name a lot, so it felt even worse than losing normally does. And eventually, some grown up showed up who explained how unfair it really was to try to be amusing those tactics. Apparently, some kid had also thought it might be interesting to see if his ideas about how much more interesting things might be if you were blindfolded might work, or how many ways they can tie a piece of string together, or if the last word on earth might be us. News or not, or whether or not certain foodstuffs will still taste the same if you don't know where they came from. The boy won that contest too. Everyone made a big deal out of it for days afterward. But I never got over it either, because now whenever I meet that one person, I'm reminded that I used to lose that way all the time. And I always get nervous and wonder why I should have expected otherwise. Beyond me. Hey, you're starting to sound like Albert now. BMB. You're absolutely right, though.
What do these people want with us? Is there no limit? And why is everyone around here constantly complaining? How is anybody supposed to relax in this kind of atmosphere? AM. They can make up their minds about what's important. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we need. A list of priorities, a clear set of guidelines, some ground rules, maybe some criteria that everybody knows and agrees upon. Maybe that's the solution we've been looking for. If only we'd come back at a different point in our lives and learn some new skills along the way, so then we wouldn't be as worried when it finally dawned on us.
How long it had been since any other adults took notice or seemed to care how miserable life had become. But instead, we keep getting caught off guard every single day by things which shouldn't bother anyone. Cause let's see if I can think of anything else. I was gonna tell you about my cat, but she just walked past my office door while I was talking last. She keeps doing that lately. And every once in a while I hear her crying somewhere inside my apartment, but when I look for her, she doesn't seem to be anywhere. Not even close enough to the doors for me to open them, although sometimes they fly wide open anyway, even without being touched. Sometimes even before they are opened. which really gives me the creeps because those cats scare easily, especially ones with black fur like hers, and they run away from strangers very fast, faster than most people expect. My dog does too, actually, and he runs towards anybody who comes into his yard until somebody gets him under control somehow and then tells me what has happened. And yet he always seems relieved afterwards, almost happy. It's amazing what dogs know about humans. Their expressions don't lie. Dogs aren't fooling us either. They're much more perceptive about other creatures. And now there's an owl in our backyard. A great horned one. The weirdest thing is that it stays near the window all night long. It never moves out of the shadows and hardly makes a sound, except to occasionally hoot when it hears something unexpected that disturbs its sleep. Billy, what is that animal? An owl, of course. They live around here. There were a few here last week. They got trapped between the fence posts. They have a sort of goofy looking face because their eyes are so big compared to their bodies. They usually get stuck behind glass windows or in hollow trees or chimneys or in any enclosed spaces where light cannot reach. So if we let these folks free, then maybe we should also find some ways to give those animals shelter, at least until we figure this place out. Not just for them, but for everyone else as well. Because they've already made a home right here inside our own minds by choosing us as companions. We owe them at least as much as we would owe ourselves because they do not just exist and hang on the walls waiting for someone else to appreciate what they represent. They actually put up with things like being poked and prodded and moved from. Ow! Hot! Shows their talons! B&B. Kids are one back. I know exactly how you feel. I say it was more about cats than about birds, and yet somehow both come into it. Together, perhaps. Maybe there are a couple of different ideas floating around which intersect somewhere along the line, although there isn't really time now since we'll be coming here tomorrow afternoon. And of course, all of this can wait a little while longer until after we finish talking to him again tonight. Because when the weather is nice, everybody is always going out except us two poor folks who have to stay behind here. And alone so long. B&B. Ouchie. That does sound awful sometimes, doesn't it? There are days when my feet hurt so badly from walking outside for hours without even taking breaks for meals or restrooms or whatever else. Sometimes they're better if I take off my shoes first thing in the morning and leave them under the desk instead, where they don't touch anything or make any noise, but they still get wet if I forget and stand over them on rainy mornings and let water get trapped inside them overnight where it sticks and gets cold and makes them damp and stiff, but at least they dry faster on sunny ones because then heat rises, but then rain comes later anyway, just as hot as ever on those same bright sunshiny mornings with people rushing around trying to find shelter because they were late leaving home yesterday. I know, right? When we talk to Albert, we won't want to go anywhere either. Not till our ears stop burning, not before our stomachs settle. Not until we've done some kind of physical exercise outdoors, which will burn away that built up tension that's been hanging there too long. It's a bad idea not to listen carefully and pay attention every once in a while, lass. I mean, it's probably one of the worst ideas that anybody's ever had. That's harder. But maybe someday somebody like me will come along and start making a fuss about all of us sitting around here. Feeling miserable about how bored everyone is most of the time. B&B! No way! You are not going through saying everything sucks! B&B. Wait until you hear what happens next. Oh, well, B&B, your tongue must have gotten stuck to your face again. What was I thinking? Here we sit complaining about how those things seem to be getting everywhere, and now I'm telling everybody they're doing pretty good when compared with other places where everybody else seems so much more anxious than they should need to be. When everybody keeps acting surprised when it turns out their expectations were unrealistic after all, and nothing terrible really did happen after all. Especially after the last couple years, which weren't exactly pleasant in the first place anyway, since nobody can keep secrets for very long anymore these days. people share each other's lives almost instantaneously nowadays, thanks in part to this little thing called the internet. We could learn something from that actually, but apparently people don't want to believe anything unless they see evidence for themselves. And yet there's no proof whatsoever, even if we think hard enough to try and find some, because if anything ever happened at all, then who knows whether or not anyone would admit knowing anything at all about it afterwards, because everybody wants to appear normal. Bambi! Ouchie!
Okay, done for now. Done for now.